I also run a meetup in this area called DC Toys. And this session is going to be from the Samsung developers. And we have Michael Ludden, who is the marketing manager for Samsung developers, and Hod Greeley, who is the senior manager with Samsung Mobile. Actually, before we get started, I also want to tell you guys that we have some companies that are hiring. Who is hiring right here? So, okay. So maybe you guys want to stand up. And if anyone is looking for jobs, maybe you guys want to reach out to these people. So yeah, so this meetup, this session is going to be from Samsung and presentation about some of the cool stuff that they're doing. And without further ado, I'll call them on stage.
Thanks, Prasanna. Actually, Prasanna's the one who made the initial introduction between us and Cheetah and Shiva, who are organizing this event. And so we have him to thank for even being here and being aware of it. And it really is turning out very well. So, funny thing. I have a screensaver, which I have not taken the time to disable. And so it flashes up random, expense receipts that I've submitted, and I think it's probably done that several times already. So apologies, and I hope nobody took pictures. But I'm the technical marketing manager for our developer outreach program, which is called Samsung Developers. I don't want anybody to be confused about that. So we are Samsung's developer outreach program. I'm going to do a bit of a high-level introduction to our program, and then the director of our group, he's actually the director of Samsung Developers, Hod Greeley, is going to come up and do a technical deep dive with some code walkthroughs of some of the technologies I'm going to briefly introduce here, or at least one. Okay, so to start off, I'd like to play a brief video recap of a recent event that we did. This kind of signals a shift in our strategy, where we're kind of going out more and more into the community. We're here, obviously, and we recently did a first-party event, which is kind of a hybrid event. It wasn't a hackathon, it wasn't a conference. It was something a little bit different, and I had this put together, and I'd like to share it really quickly to give you a sense and a flavor of kind of what we're doing these days. No, I didn't choose that music, and yes, I am wearing the exact same thing today, so we'll just get that out of the way. Our new goal is kind of to become the friendly face of Samsung for the world of developers. A lot of people know it's, there we go, cheesy photo. It's been kind of difficult to interface with Samsung, and so we want to make it very easy because we need developers. We need developers to build into our ecosystem. We need to help developers become successful because that's the only way we're going to be successful in the mobile space. So why Samsung developers? I'm going to go into detail on several of these, but we have an app recommendation engine called S-Suggest. We have an app store called Samsung Apps. We have informal co-marketing opportunities. We have a virtual device lab so that you can remotely test your device anywhere. A traditional device loaner program, obviously, if you're interested in that, please talk to us about it. We run a bunch of online contests via our Twitter handle, which is @SamsungWS. We have local events and meetups and hackathons. We're doing a lot of those this year. We're going to shift to doing a lot of our own events next year and inviting a lot of partners in. And then we offer support online and in person. If anybody has questions, we want to be available. We want to be approachable. So going into detail about S-Suggest, I have a little YouTube video that I'll play in just a moment, but a little bit about this. S-Suggest, like I said, is an app recommendation engine, which means that if you have a Samsung device like a Galaxy S3, and you open up S-Suggest, it will suggest for you apps that we think you will like for your Samsung device. These apps are generally tested, they work on Samsung devices, sometimes they have special functionality, which we'll talk about in a moment. But when you click the link, it actually takes you to one of three places. It offers deep links into, obviously, Google Play, where available. Local carrier stores, so Verizon has their own app store. Other carriers in other countries have their own app stores as well. If an app is only available there or it's preferred there, we can link to that. And also Samsung Apps. Samsung Apps, which we'll get into in a moment, has a wider reach than some of the other stores. We're in some areas where maybe Google Play or your local carrier store is not, so it's a way to expand your reach. And then it offers content that's relevant to Samsung users, which I mentioned, but let me play this YouTube video. So that video is just to give you a brief idea of what you can do with S-Suggest, but I want to really emphasize the fact that S-Suggest is not redundant. It's actually meant to offer relevant content to users. So we have sections such as an S Pen app section, right? If you have a Galaxy Note with the pen and there are apps that are optimized for that, you may want to download that. And as a developer, you know that's golden, right? If you have an application that you think is relevant, that can get featured, you will get a lot more eyeballs on your application, which is really the big challenge these days. We'll have more categories coming up as we release new technologies as well, which I know Hai is going to talk a little bit more about. So Samsung Apps is Samsung's app store, and this is available on some devices, not all carriers, but it's very specifically available in regions where Google Play and other carrier stores are not available, certain places in China, other countries, and it's not meant to reinvent the wheel. It's not meant to replace other app stores. It's a much more curated app experience, again, relevant content. There's a very detailed QA process. It's kind of lengthy, but it's worth it. It's almost like getting free beta testing. And it ensures Samsung device compatibility and will give you problems and solutions to issues that we find. In a lot of instances, we've found problems with applications that are already listed in Google Play. And I'm not trying to throw Google Play under the bus, but we have found problems that are already listed, bugs that developers appreciate, and then they can fix and relist on Google Play and also list on Samsung Apps. It's obviously free to list, and you can go to samsungapps.com to do that. We also offer a new feature, which is free localization into 5 different languages. If you write your app in English, it'll translate it into Spanish, Chinese, Korean, and Russian if you so choose. And that's a free service as well. Also, regional promotion. So if you release an app that you think is going to perform better in the United States, maybe it's an American football app or something, we can do local promotions where appropriate. And then there's new monetization incentives available for some select partners. We're going to hopefully roll that out to a larger audience soon. One of the things is if you sell over $1,000 worth of your application, you'll get a 10% bonus in what you get back, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you can expand your markets. It's available in places that other app stores are not, and it's highly curated and relevant to Samsung users. So this is a pretty terrible video. I apologize in advance. A very old device, but it'll give you kind of a sense of what the App Store is like.
With Samsung Apps, you have instant access to a variety of apps, optimized and ready to use on your mobile phone. Tap here to get started. Check out the latest and the most recommended apps, or the most popular apps, or all apps by categories. You can also sort apps the way you want. Search to find what you are looking for. Just begin typing in the search box and see matches appear. When you find an app you like, just tap for more details. Price, description, file sizes, user ratings and comments, and what customers who bought this app also bought. Get a full screen view by touching the screenshot. To download, tap here. It's this simple. SamsungApps.com offers various voucher events, so check that frequently. Now, you can check the download by the wavy icon. The downloading status also appears on the detail page. Samsung Apps, the easiest way to make your smartphone smarter.
So again, the idea is relevant content, right? If you're a developer or a startup thinking of making a mobile app, you want eyeballs on your application. You don't want to be the 50,000th iFart app, right? And nobody's going to download your app. You want it to be relevant and targeted to your audience. So Samsung Apps is an attempt to kind of leverage the fact that you're on a Samsung device, and we know that, and we know the app works on the device, or we know the app leverages some special functionality, and so we're going to highlight that. And again, this is SamsungApps.com. If you're interested in checking out anything about the Samsung App Store or even SSuggest. This is kind of taking a little left turn from my deck, but you know, you can see it's a fairly pretty site. Okay, so informal co-marketing opportunities. So this Freepoint Inc. is a company that makes an app called Pictorio. You can download it on Android. This is a very recent story, and I wanted to share this today. I was actually hoping we would have an HD cam so that I can show the app live, but I'm not sure if anybody in here knows if that functionality is available. If not, I'll just describe in word pictures to you. But essentially, Pictorio, P-I-C-T-O-R-E-O, I can spell, is available on the Android market. It's only available, sorry, on Google Play. It's only available on Android right now. These are a couple of ex-Googlers who live in Toronto and are basically bootstrapping this company. It's a really fun idea that I think could really actually take off. And the reason, I met them at TechCrunch in San Francisco, TechCrunch Disrupt, where you heard Mark Zuckerberg make the comments about HTML5 and the comments about how the stock price is going to go up over time. You may have heard that bouncing around the news for a while. I was really interested in them because they were lead developed on Android, and obviously Samsung being the #1 Android OEM, it works on a lot of our devices, especially the Galaxy Nexus and other devices that are on Jelly Bean. And so I wanted to see if they were agile enough to do a quick build with what we call our S Pen SDK for the Galaxy Note. So as I mentioned a moment ago, on the Galaxy Note, which is a 5.3-inch device, you can pull out a little pen, which is actually a Wacom stylus. It's not a capacitive stylus. And it has special functionality like, yeah, that's right, hot is coming. Sorry, I'll be quick about it. He's going to go more into detail on this. But you can do cool things like distinguish between touch and pen interaction. It's got recognition for pressure and also hover functionality. And I just thought this would be a really cool way to interact with this particular app. Because what this app does is it creates kind of like an animated GIF file based on a short image you make. And it's fun. It doesn't sound like it's fun, but if you try it out, it's super fun and it could catch on like wildfire. So you just scratch away a certain portion and it animates that portion and the rest of the image is static. So you get these crazy GIFs of people moving their head and like static people staring at them like, what are you doing? Or people jumping off repeatedly from cliffs or all sorts of fun, crazy stuff. You can easily share it with Facebook. And so they said, yes, we'll do a custom build for you. What we're doing now is we're going to feature them at the Sprint Open Solutions Conference on October 23rd and 24th, sorry, 24th and 25th. At our booth. They're actually going to be demoing this new build. And so that's an example of informal co-marketing opportunities. Other examples, we can bring somebody, a partner up with us when we're doing something like this, or a large keynote, just depends on the opportunity. But we do take advantage of when people work with us, and we're very happy to show off the cool tech that they come up with. So this is a picture of what the app looks like. It's a lot of fun. Sorry I can't show it to you right now. I recommend downloading it. It's a hoot. And then, okay, tools and SDKs. This is what I'm talking about with making apps relevant. The S Pen SDK we just mentioned. For the Galaxy S3, if anybody here has a Galaxy S3, there's something called the All-Share Framework. It's soon to be released to third-party developers. Right now it's first-party only, but it lets you wirelessly display from your device to a Samsung Smart TV content from your device. And what that will look like is dual screen, so you'll be able to do things like have a controller in your hand and display the game to the television, mirror your phone to your TV wirelessly. Right now it requires a dongle, but in the new versions of the TV, it will not require a special adapter or dongle. I just like to say the word dongle. There's the Chat On API, which is cross-platform. It runs on iOS, Android. They're beefing that up with some new cool comms functionality as well. And then, of course, tools that will help you test your app in general, the Virtual Device Test Lab and the Device Learner Program, which we talked about before. So this is SamsungDevelopers.com, or sorry, developer.samsung.com. That's what it is. And this gives you a little brief intro to what the site looks like. Fairly easy to navigate. If you're interested in developing, you can just hit that Develop tab, and it'll take you to the different APIs we have on offer currently, which I will speak about in just a moment. So social media. We're big on social media right now. If you follow us at Samsung Dev US, I'm going to pick a few tweets and give out some notebooks. So follow us right now. And at the end of the session, I'll hand out a couple of notebooks to some tweeters. And then we also are on YouTube. You can watch that very same peppy event recap that I showed you on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, Samsung Dev US. And then on Facebook, we do have a Facebook page. Haven't really rolled out much content to that yet. That's forthcoming. And then Google+. We're going to be doing Hangouts on Google+. Yay, go Google. Okay, upcoming events. Yeah, we're stacked. If you're at any of these, feel free to stop by. We're going to be at the Verizon NFC Tapped New York City event, actually next week. And then we'll be back in San Francisco. We're going to be in Seoul. We're going to be in Texas for the Big Android Barbecue, back in the Bay Area. And we're going to be in NYC a few times. And I'm actually looking for opportunities to come back to Washington, D.C. as well, because there's obviously a very vibrant startup community. And this is our first foray as a program into coming here. So if you have great opportunities to share, please don't hesitate. We're looking for them. And then I'd like to wrap this up by introducing the director of our program, Todd Greeley. He's also a doctor. You should ask him what he got his doctorate in. It's pretty funny. But thank you very much.
Okay, so today, as Michael said, I'm the director of our developer outreach group, and we're based in San Jose, California. We basically cover the Americas, so we're actually part of a global organization for Samsung, but we like to think of ourselves as kind of the rogue group, maybe. I don't know. And today I wanted to talk to some about one of our SDK offerings. So we had several, and Michael touched on a couple of them. If you go to our developer site, then you'll find some of the other ones we have. But I'm going to talk about our S Pen SDK. So first of all, how many people have actually seen a Galaxy Note? A fair number. So okay, well, let me give a brief introduction for people who haven't. So this is to kind of motivate, why I'm going to talk about this SDK. So the Galaxy Note is this device that we came out with, I forget how many months ago, I guess almost a year ago at this point, that actually has, some people say that it's retro maybe, that we've brought back the stylus. So it actually comes with this pen device that we call the S Pen, because everything from Samsung has to start with S. And so it's actually, when you think about it for mobile devices, it actually gives you kind of a unique way of interacting with a device that gives you a lot of capabilities that have kind of gone missing when we've gone to touch screens with just fingers. So, as Michael said, a lot of people call it a capacitive pen, and it's actually not. It's actually uses, I don't know how somebody managed to try and get a trademark on electromagnetic resonance, because that's kind of like a standard phrase in certain worlds. But Wacom apparently did, because when I looked this up, they had the trademark on it. So this is a really cool graphic that kind of, I could go into details afterwards to anyone who actually wants to understand this. But it's pretty nifty the way this works. And it's actually the device, the phone itself is actually powering the pen. And it gives some capabilities that you don't get in other pen systems that are just standard capacitive. Because basically in those systems, you're actually just more or less replacing your finger with a pen. But this one actually gives some capabilities that you can't get with that kind of technology. So at this point, just to give an idea, right now we have 3 devices out. So this is the original Galaxy Note. So this is the 5.3-inch device that Michael was talking about that came out a little while ago. And this is always the fun with talks where you try and figure out exactly how long you're going to say about. There we go. Okay, good. Transitions are good. So this is actually the second device that came out. It's a 10.1-inch tablet that also has, and this is actually the first one that came with kind of an eraser element on the back side of the pen. This one doesn't plug into the device, so you actually have to keep track. And now this is the Galaxy Note 2, so we actually just announced this pretty recently, and this is kind of the next generation of the smaller sized device. Some people call it a phablet. I don't really care what you call it. I think it's a really cool device. It's great to be able to read off the larger screen size. And it actually works really well and as both a phone and as a reasonable sized surface for viewing a lot of other content. So those are the kind of your target devices if you're thinking about developing for something that makes use of this kind of technology. So, which brings us to the software development kit. And the little smiley face guy that I like there. You can download this at our developer portal, developer.samsung.com. I know it's tough to remember that, but I think you guys can try. So what I wanted to illustrate here, so technical deep dive is a little bit of an overstatement, so I will get into a little bit of code. But what I wanted to show here is what you're looking at. I think you can tell pretty readily